My mother stood in front of our relatives and told me my company was a fantasy, until a single magazine cover made the whole room go silent. The Chens, the Hendersons, the Marlowes, every power family my father networked with, were gathered around the long mahogany table. Thanksgiving in Darien, Connecticut. Chandeliers overhead. Wine from a vineyard that probably had a waiting list. A 5-course meal that cost more than most people's rent. My mother orchestrated it all like she was directing a Broadway show. And in her production, I'd been typecast as the disappointment. Quiet confidence builds empires. Loud criticism builds nothing. I'd driven up from Brooklyn that Wednesday evening. 2 hours on I-95, bumper to bumper. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Engineers needed sign-offs. Our head of sales was closing 3 enterprise deals, and the photographer from a major business magazine had just sent the final proofs. Our quarterly numbers had doubled year over year. Our Series C had just banked at a $410 million valuation. But as I pulled into the circular driveway in my gray sedan, not a luxury SUV, not a sports car, just reliable transportation, none of those numbers mattered. Not yet. My brother Mark's Porsche Cayenne was already there. So was my father's BMW 7 Series and my Aunt Helen's Mercedes G-Wagon. I grabbed my weekend bag and walked toward the front door. Lauren. My mother appeared in the entryway, a silk blouse and diamond studs catching the light. Her eyes swept over me head to toe. "That's what you chose to wear." I looked down. Dark jeans, a charcoal sweater, clean leather boots. "Hi, Mom. Happy Thanksgiving. The Kirklands are here. The Parkers. The Chens from Dad's law firm." She lowered her voice. "Couldn't you have put in a little effort? I'm comfortable." She gave that sigh, the one she'd perfected over 30 years, and waved me inside. "Your father's in the library. Mark's with him." The library smelled like old paper and single malt. My father sat behind a desk the size of a small boat, scrolling through his phone. A named partner at one of Manhattan's top firms, he'd built his career orchestrating billion-dollar mergers. My brother Mark stood by the fireplace, scotch in hand, wearing a suit that probably cost my monthly rent. "Lauren," my father said without looking up. "How was the drive?" "Fine. Usual traffic." Mark turned, that familiar half-smile on his face. "Still driving the electric sedan? I figured you'd have upgraded by now. It gets me where I'm going. Barely." He swirled his drink. "On that thing, anyway. 250 miles. I just took delivery of the Cayenne Turbo. Hand-stitched leather. 400 horsepower. Now that's a car. Congratulations." "So how's the little project going?" He said project the way some people say phase. Like it was something I'd grow out of. "It's going well. Still doing that payment software. What was the name again? BridgePay." "Right. BridgePay." He exchanged a glance with my father. "You know, my firm just advised on a fintech sale. Real company. $3 billion exit. That's the kind of scale that actually matters in this industry. I'm aware. You should really think about getting a real job, Lauren. My buddy's MD at Morgan Stanley. I could make a call. I'm good." "Thanks." My mother appeared in the doorway. "Dinner's ready. Mark, help your father greet everyone. Lauren," she paused. "Try to smile tonight. Please." Thanksgiving dinner was exactly as brutal as I'd imagined. 17 people around the extended table. Mark's wife, Catherine. My cousin Jessica and her finance groom. Family friends who'd watched me grow up. The conversation rotated through the greatest hits. My father's latest billion-dollar case. Mark's promotion to managing director. Catherine's pregnancy announcement. Cue applause and champagne flutes. Jessica's engagement to a neurosurgeon from Greenwich. Then Mrs. Parker turned to me with that tilted smile. "And Lauren, dear, what are you doing these days? Still in New York?" "Yes, still in Brooklyn." "She's doing a tech thing," my mother interjected, waving her hand like she was swatting a fly. "Some kind of app." How interesting, Mrs. Parker said. Like Venmo. Similar space. But we focus on business-to-business payments. We help companies manage invoices, optimize cash flow, process transactions faster. Mark laughed. Listen to her. Making it sound so official. It is official, I said quietly. Lauren, honey. My mother set down her wine glass. Can we not do this tonight? It's Thanksgiving. Do what? Talk about my work. Your little company. Mark made air quotes. Mom's right, it's a little embarrassing. The table went quiet. My Uncle George suddenly became fascinated by his gravy. Aunt Helen stared at her plate. Excuse me, I said. Come on, Lauren. Mark leaned back, emboldened by his third glass of Bordeaux. We're family, we can be honest. What you're doing isn't a real business. It's a hobby that's gone on way too long. Mark, Catherine said softly, touching his arm. He shook her off. No, someone has to say it. You've been at this for what, 5 years? And what do you have to show for it? You live in a 700-square-foot apartment. You drive a base model sedan. You dress like you shop at Target. Mark, that's enough, my father said, but without any real heat. Is it? Because I'm tired of watching my little sister embarrass this family. The Kirklands are here, the Parkers, the Chens. What are we supposed to tell them? Oh yes. Our daughter plays entrepreneur with her little internet company. My mother nodded slowly. Mark has a point, Lauren. This has gone on long enough. I set down my fork. What exactly has gone on long enough? This, pretending. My mother gestured vaguely. Sweetheart, we love you, but you're 34 years old. You need to face reality. Your business is a fantasy. It's time to stop embarrassing everyone and get a real job. The word hung in the air like a slap. Fantasy, I repeated. You know what I mean. You don't have an office. You work from coffee shops in your living room. You've never shown us any financials, any proof that this company actually makes money. For all we know, you're living on credit cards and pretending everything's fine. I'm not living on credit cards. Then show us the numbers, Mark challenged. What's your revenue? Your profit margin? How many people work for you? I looked him in the eye. 420 people, he snorted. 420. Sure, and I'm the King of England. Mark, my father said more firmly this time. This isn't appropriate dinner conversation. Why not? Because it's uncomfortable. Someone needs to tell Lauren the truth. Her fake business is embarrassing. She's embarrassing. And I'm sick of pretending otherwise. I looked around the table. Mrs. Parker was studying her wine glass. Mr. Kirkland was refilling his drink. My aunt wouldn't meet my eyes. No one was defending me. You're right, I said quietly, standing up. This isn't appropriate. Excuse me. I walked out of the dining room, grabbed my coat from the hall closet, and headed for the front door. My mother caught me in the foyer. Lauren, wait. Where are you going? Back to the city. You're leaving. It's Thanksgiving. And I just got called an embarrassment and a fantasy in front of your dinner guests. I think I'm done here. Honey, Mark didn't mean it like that. He's just worried about you. We all are. I pulled on my coat. You think my business is a fantasy. You think I'm embarrassing. There's nothing left to say. Lauren, please. Just come back inside. We can talk about this. No, Mom. We really can't. I drove back to Brooklyn with my jaw clenched. Not because they'd hurt my feelings, though they had, but because the worst part was, 5 years ago, their skepticism would have been reasonable. In 2020, I'd quit my job as a senior analyst at Goldman Sachs to start BridgePay. Everyone thought I was insane. I'd had a $190,000 salary, a corner office view, a clear track to vice president, and I'd walked away to chase what Mark called a payment processing pipe dream. The first year was brutal. I burned through $110,000 in savings, ate ramen and canned soup, taught myself Python and SQL at 2 a.m. because I couldn't afford to hire engineers. But I'd spotted a gap. Small and medium businesses were drowning in late payments and cash flow chaos. The existing tools were either too expensive or too complicated. I wanted to build something simple, affordable, and genuinely helpful. BridgePay launched in 2021 with exactly one client, a furniture manufacturer in Queens who owed me a favor. We processed $52,000 in payments that first month. Then word spread. By the end of 2021, 200 clients, $14 million in monthly volume, 2,200 clients, $141 million monthly. By 2023, million monthly. By $260 million monthly. This year, 2025, 16,000 clients. Annual revenue at a photo shoot for a Fortune magazine cover. They were profiling 40 CEOs under 40 who were reshaping American business. The issue was scheduled to drop tomorrow, Black Friday. I'd never told my family any of this, not because I was hiding it, but because they'd never asked. They saw my small apartment, my unremarkable car, my casual clothes, and decided I was failing. And I'd let them believe it. Part of me wanted to see how long it would take them to actually care enough to ask real questions. 5 years. The answer was 5 years, and they still hadn't. I got back to my Park Slope walk-up around 11 p.m. It was a one-bedroom, 900 square feet, with exposed brick and a fire escape that faced a community garden. I'd bought it outright in 2023 for $1.35 million. No mortgage, no landlord. Just mine. My phone had been buzzing for hours. I'd ignored it on the drive, but now I scrolled. 19 texts from my mother. 11 from my father. 7 from Mark. 2 from Aunt Helen. I opened Aunt Helen's first. Lauren, I'm so sorry about tonight. Mark was completely out of line. Your mother shouldn't have let it continue. I hope you're okay. Call me if you need to talk. At least someone had a conscience. Mark's messages were predictable. You're being dramatic. It's Thanksgiving. Come back. You know I'm right. I deleted them without answering. My mother's texts were variations on the same theme. Please come back. You're overreacting. Mark had too much wine. We love you. My father's were shorter. Your mother is upset. Call her. I turned off my phone and poured myself a glass of Malbec. Tomorrow was going to be interesting. Black Friday morning. I woke up at 6 a.m. to my phone detonating. I turned it back on to check work emails, and the notifications flooded in immediately. Aunt Helen, Lauren, is this you? Photo attached. The photo was the Fortune cover. There I was. Photographed at our headquarters in Manhattan's Flatiron District. Standing on our rooftop deck with the skyline behind me. The headline, CEO of the Year, 40 under 40. And in smaller text, Lauren Chen, 34, built a $143 million fintech powerhouse that's changing how businesses pay each other. Aunt Helen, I'm at your parents' house for breakfast. I just opened Fortune magazine. Your mother's face is white. Call me immediately. I grinned and made coffee. My work phone rang. It was my COO, James. Have you seen the cover? He asked. Not in person yet? Is it out? Lauren, it's everywhere. Twitter is melting down. LinkedIn is on fire. Our website traffic is up 500% in the last hour. We've gotten 63 new client inquiries since 5 a.m. That's incredible. Incredible. It's pandemonium. The PR team is losing their minds in a good way. Forbes wants a follow-up. TechCrunch is asking for an exclusive. Bloomberg, The Wall Street Journal, CNBC. Send me the list. I'll review it this afternoon. You're way too calm about this. I knew the cover was coming, James. Yeah, but did you know it would blow up like this? They're calling you the quiet giant of fintech. Comparing you to the Stripe founders. Let's not get carried away. I'm serious. This is enormous. You should come to the office. The team wants to celebrate. I'll be there in an hour. I hung up and checked my personal phone again. 41 new messages. My mother, Lauren, Aunt Helen just showed me a magazine. Is this real? Why didn't you tell us? Call me right now. Mark, what the hell? Is that Fortune cover actually you? Lauren, call me. My father, your mother is very upset. We need to talk about this Fortune article. Jessica, my cousin Lauren, I just saw the cover. Oh my God. Why didn't you tell anyone? Catherine, Mark's wife, Lauren, I'm so proud of you. That cover is incredible. Mark is processing. Call when you can. I ignored them all and got ready for work. BridgePay's offices occupied 2 full floors in a building near Madison Square Park. Glass walls, standing desks, a rooftop garden, a kitchen stocked with everything except drama. We'd moved here in 2023 after outgrowing our Brooklyn space. When I walked in at 9 a.m., the entire floor erupted. "There she is," James shouted. "CEO of the year." Someone had blown up the Fortune cover to poster size and hung it in the main conference room with a banner that read, "We always knew." My head of product, Priya, handed me a mimosa. "You're a celebrity now. How does it feel? Surreal." Surreal? Lauren, you're on the cover of Fortune magazine. Your revenue numbers, your valuation, your face. This is going to change everything. She wasn't wrong. By noon, we'd received 300+ client inquiries, 22 interview requests, and a dozen invitations to speak at conferences. Our investor relations team was fielding calls from VCs who suddenly wanted to talk about Series D. At 1:30 p.m., my personal phone rang. I'd been expecting this. "Hi, Mom," Lauren May Chen. Her voice was trembling. "I'm sitting here with Aunt Helen, and she just showed me a Fortune magazine with your face on the cover." "Is this some kind of prank?" "It's not a prank. It says you run a $143 million company. It says you have 420 employees. It says you're revolutionizing the fintech industry. All true. Then why?" Her voice cracked. "Why didn't you tell us?" "You never asked, Mom. That's not fair. You never said." "I tried to, multiple times. But every time I mentioned BridgePay, you brushed it off. You called it a little app. Mark called it embarrassing. You literally told me last night that my business was a fantasy." "Is Dad there?" I asked. "He's reading the article right now?" "Lauren, this says you raised $105 million in funding. It says you're processing over $1 billion a month. How is this possible?" "Because I'm good at what I do, but you live in that tiny apartment. You drive a regular car, you dress so casually. I live in a 900-square-foot apartment in Park Slope that I own outright. I drive a sedan because it's efficient and reliable. I dress casually because I'm comfortable and my clients don't care what I wear. None of those things have anything to do with whether my business is successful." "Mark is here," my mother said quietly. "He wants to talk to you." "I don't want to talk to Mark. Lauren, please. He feels terrible about last night. The best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's building something so undeniable that their opinions become irrelevant. Put him on." There was rustling. Then Mark's voice. He sounded different, smaller. "Lauren, I don't even know what to say." "Then don't say anything." "About last night?" "I was drunk and stupid and completely out of line. You called my business a fantasy. You called me embarrassing. In front of Mom and Dad's friends. I know. I'm an idiot. I had no idea. None of you did. Because you never asked. Every time I came home, I talked about BridgePay. But you never listened. You heard startup and decided I was failing. You never asked about revenue or clients or growth. You just assumed. You're right. I assumed. And I was completely wrong." He paused. "The article says you're processing $1.5 billion monthly. That's more than my entire division at the bank handles." "I know." "It also says you turned down acquisition offers from Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan." "I did. 4 times from Goldman. Twice from JP Morgan. They wanted to buy BridgePay for $250 million, $310 million, $380 million, and $410 million. I said no every time. Why? Because we're worth more than that. And because I'm not building this company to sell it. I'm building it to last." Mark was quiet for a long moment. "I'm proud of you, Lauren. I should have said that years ago. I'm sorry I didn't. I appreciate that. Can you come back up for the weekend? Everyone wants to see you." "I have work, Mark. We just got 300 new client inquiries because of the Fortune cover. I need to be here." "Right. Of course." He sounded genuinely disappointed. Will you at least call Mom back? She's devastated that she didn't know. I'll think about it. I hung up and turned off my phone. The weekend was a blur. Interviews, client calls, team celebrations. By Monday, the Fortune cover had been shared over 70,000 times on social media. We'd gotten over 1,000 client inquiries and hired a dedicated PR firm just to manage the media requests. Monday evening, a flower delivery arrived at my apartment. 36 white peonies with a card. Lauren, we're so sorry. We should have believed in you. We should have asked. We should have known. Please forgive us. We love you, Mom, Dad, and Mark. I put the peonies in a vase and didn't call them back. Tuesday, a package arrived. Inside was a handwritten letter from my mother. Dear Lauren, I've spent the last 5 days reading everything I can find about bridge pay. The Fortune article, the TechCrunch features, the Bloomberg coverage, the case studies from your clients. I watched your keynote from FinTech Summit 2024. I read the Glassdoor reviews from your employees, overwhelmingly positive, by the way. I'm ashamed that I had to learn about my own daughter's success from a magazine. You were right at Thanksgiving. We never asked. We saw what we wanted to see. A struggling entrepreneur who needed our guidance. We never looked deeper. We never took you seriously. Mark is mortified. He's told everyone at his firm about you. Apparently, his managing director has been trying to get a meeting with you for months. Small world. Your father wants to invest in your next funding round. I told him that's probably not appropriate, and also that you don't need our money. What you need is our belief, our respect, our genuine interest in what you've built. I know we don't deserve it, but I'm asking for another chance. Not to celebrate your success, though we do want to celebrate, but to actually know you, to understand what drives you, to be the family you deserve. Please come to Christmas. No pressure, no performances, no guests, just us. Let us try to do better. Love, Mom. I read the letter 4 times. Then I called her. Lauren. She answered on the first ring. Oh, thank God. I wasn't sure you'd call. I got your letter. Did you read it? Yes. And? I'll come to Christmas. But Mom, things have to be different. They will be. I promise. What do you need? I need you to actually listen when I talk about my work. I need you to ask real questions, not just nod politely. I need you to stop measuring my success by what car I drive or what apartment I live in. Absolutely. What else? I need Mark to understand that his world isn't the only version of success. Investment banking is great, but it's not better than what I'm doing. Just different. He knows that now. Trust me. He knows, and I need Dad to stop offering to help with connections or introductions. I built this company without his help. I'm proud of that. I understand. One more thing. I need you to be proud of me. Not because Fortune magazine validated what I'm doing, but because I'm doing work that matters. I'm helping businesses survive. I'm creating jobs. I'm building something meaningful. That should have been enough for you to be proud, with or without a magazine cover. My mother's voice cracked. You're right. It should have been. And I am proud, Lauren. Not because of Fortune. Because you're my daughter and you're extraordinary. I just wish I'd realized it sooner. Me too, so you'll come to Christmas. I'll come. But just for 2 days. I have a company to run. 2 days is perfect. Thank you, honey. Thank you for giving us another chance. Christmas was different. I arrived on the 23rd of December to find the house decorated normally. No guests, no performance, no caterer. Just my mother's home cooking and family. Mark greeted me at the door with a hug. Hey, Lauren, thanks for coming. Thanks for not calling me an embarrassment. He winced. Yeah, about that. I'm going to be apologizing for that for the rest of my life, aren't I? Probably. Catherine appeared behind him, visibly pregnant now. Lauren, that fortune cover is framed in Mark's office. He shows it to everyone. I do not, Mark protested. You absolutely do, she laughed. He's told the story at least 50 times. My little sister is CEO of the year. I smiled despite myself. My father came out of his study. Lauren. Good to see you. Hi, Dad. I read the Fortune article. Impressive work. Very impressive. Thank you. I'd love to hear more about your business model over dinner. The payment optimization piece is fascinating. I have some questions about your approach to credit risk assessment. I blinked. You actually read the article. I read everything I could find, including your interview with Bloomberg and your presentation at the FinTech Summit. You've built something remarkable. I don't know what to say. Say you'll explain how you managed to scale from 2,200 clients to 16,000 clients in 3 years, while maintaining a 98% retention rate. That's extraordinary in fintech. And just like that, we were actually talking, about models and metrics and market positioning, about the challenges of scaling a payments platform, about regulatory compliance and competitive moats. It was the first real conversation we'd had about my work in 5 years. My mother made pot roast and mashed potatoes, my favorite. Over dinner, they asked about my employees, my investors, my plans for expansion. Mark shared stories from his banking world without the condescension I'd grown used to. Aunt Helen asked if she could invest in my Series D. You want to invest? I asked, surprised. If you'll have me. I have some money set aside. I've always wanted to invest in startups, and I can't think of a better bet than you, Aunt Helen. Our minimum investment for Series D will probably be $750,000. I have it. I stared at her. You have $750,000 you want to invest in BridgePay? I have $1 million. I was going to split it between you and a few other opportunities. But if you'd prefer the full amount, talk to your financial advisor. Make sure it's the right move for you. Already did. She said if the fortune profile was accurate, this was a no-brainer. By the end of the weekend, I'd had more meaningful conversations with my family than in the previous 5 years combined. Evening, Mark pulled me aside. Can I show you something? He led me to his old bedroom, which my mother had converted to a guest room. On the desk was a framed photo from Thanksgiving, not the awful one where he'd called me embarrassing, but from 2019, the year before I'd started BridgePay. We were both laughing at something my father had said. Young, careless. I keep this here as a reminder, Mark said quietly. Of what? Of how badly I screwed up. I had a sister who was building something incredible, and I was too arrogant to see it. Too caught up in my own definition of success to recognize anyone else's. Mark, let me finish. Fortune cover, my first emotion wasn't pride. It was shame. Because I realized I'd been treating you like a failure when you were succeeding beyond anything I'll ever accomplish. That's not true. You're a managing director at... I'm a cog in a machine, Lauren. A well-paid cog, but still a cog. You built the machine. There's a difference. Both things matter. Maybe. But I should have respected what you were doing. I should have been curious instead of dismissive. I should have been your biggest cheerleader, not your harshest critic. I put my hand on his shoulder. You can start now. I already have. I've been telling everyone at the bank about BridgePay. We're actually looking at using your platform for some of our mid-market clients' payment processing. I gave your CEO's contact info to our head of business development. You did. I did. And Lauren, when I tell people my sister is the CEO of BridgePay, the CEO of the year according to Fortune magazine, the woman who built a $143 million fintech empire from nothing, he shook his head. I'm more proud to be your brother. 6 months after the Fortune cover dropped, BridgePay closed its Series D funding round at an $810 million valuation. Aunt Helen invested $1 million. We used the funding to expand internationally, launching in Canada, the UK, and Australia. By the end of 2026, We were processing $2.7 billion in monthly transactions with 28,000 clients and 650 employees. Annual revenue hit $271 million. Mark's bank became a client. He still jokes that his little sister is technically his vendor now. My mother frames every article written about bridge pay and sends them to relatives with handwritten notes, "This is my daughter." My father joined our advisory board. He doesn't get paid for it. He does it because he's genuinely interested in what we're building. Last month, Forbes ran a follow-up feature. The headline, "A year after her CEO of the Year cover, Lauren Chen is just getting started." The opening line read, "While most CEOs chase headlines, Lauren Chen chased excellence." The headlines came anyway. They interviewed my family for the piece. My mother said, "We underestimated her for too long. We won't make that mistake again." Mark said, "My sister taught me that quiet confidence builds empires, loud criticism builds nothing." My sister taught me that quiet confidence builds empires. Loud criticism builds nothing. I framed both quotes and hung them in my office. Not because I needed their validation, though it was nice to finally have it, but because they were true. My mother stood in front of our relatives and told me my company was a fantasy. Now she sends magazine clippings to everyone she knows. If you're building something that the people around you don't understand yet, this is your sign to keep going. Don't explain, don't defend, just build, and let the results speak for themselves. If you want more stories about quiet persistence and proving doubters wrong, hit like and subscribe to my channel. And drop a comment below. Has anyone ever dismissed your dream as a fantasy? How did you respond?